Wonderful. So at this time, I'd like to start the February 27th, 2023 City of Palm Springs Parks and Recreation Commission meeting at 5:36 p.m. So with that being said, I'd like to start with a roll call vote.
Okay, Commissioners, when I call your name, please indicate that you are here and present. Chair Alcorn,
Present.
Vice Chair Coladonato,
Present.
Commissioner Crawford.
Present.
Perfect. Commissioner Diaz,
Here.
Commissioner Finland,
Present.
Commissioner Moralia.
Present.
And we have a quorum with Commissioners Meyer and Commissioner Spellman excused.
Thank you. So at this time, I'd like to ask all my commissioners, have you had a chance to review the minutes from last month? And can I get an approval of the minutes, please?
Chair Alcorn, could I jump in and just quickly
Oh, of
report
course.
on the posting of the agenda?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Sorry about that.
You bet. So the agenda was posted last week on February 22nd in accordance with the public meeting posting requirements.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Apologize about that.
Okay.
So once again, has everybody that's on right now, have you guys had a chance to look at last month's minutes, and can I get an approval of the minutes, please?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Finland. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Moralia. Appreciate that, sir.
And I'll do the roll call vote. Chair Alcorn,
Yes.
Vice Chair Coladonato,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawford,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Abstain.
Commissioner Finland,
Yes.
Commissioner Moralia,
Yes.
and then motion carries with Commissioners Meyer and Spellman excused and Commissioner Diaz abstaining.
So at this part of the meeting, we're going to open it up to public comment. I want to advise all the public that we are a commission. We are not the council. We are not a board. We are just a commission. Also, each public comment is limited to 3 minutes each, please. This is for your comments via anything to do with City of Palm Springs Parks and Recreation. It's not a presentation, it's the 3 minutes of you sharing your time. So with that being said, I'd like to open the Public Comments Commission meeting up.
Okay, so if anyone is interested in giving a public comment tonight, please use the raise hand feature and we will let you into the meeting so that you can speak to the commission.
All right, I have Mara Gladstone.
Ms. Gladstone, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm well. Thank you for having me. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. So with
Uh,
that being said, your time starts now, ma'am, okay?
Thanks. So as a citizen of Palm Springs, I just want to thank the commission for its efforts to improve our playgrounds for our families in the community. I really appreciate that. But I'm also making my remarks as Deputy Director of Desert X, the International Contemporary Art Exhibition that takes place every other year throughout the Coachella Valley. And I wanted to share with you a project that will be taking place in one of the city's parks. And I apologize that I was not able to share this information a bit earlier, but I missed the opportunity to do so last month. We are currently installing a project by the Cahuilla artist Gerald Clark in the James O. Jesse Desert Highland Unity Center. We have talked to the Desert Highland Gateway Estates Community Action Association and have been working with the City of Palm Springs for proper permitting of this piece. And we're really excited about it. The project is, it's basically a life-size game board shaped in the form of a traditional Cahuilla basket that you can walk upon. And your movement on the board is guided by the use of Trivial Pursuit style playing cards, which you can access digitally, but also we have a few that you can also handhold. And all about Indigenous history and culture, both within the Coachella Valley and worldwide. So we're really excited to have someone who's as special to our community as Gerald Clark participating in this project, and in partnership and warm welcome from the Desert Highland Gateway Estates community. I would be delighted to send over some further information about this. We'll do so to the staff and to the commissioners as well. I would be delighted to talk with you more before our next session, if that somehow makes sense. And of course, you can see the work in progress currently being installed. Again, I appreciate your patience with us, and I apologize that I wasn't able to share this information sooner, but I hope you'll find that the project itself is not, won't infringe on the regular activities of the Parks Department up there. We know it's a very special site in the community, and we'll be conducting several tours with the artists for the children in the spring break camp, and would be happy to open up to any and all kind of public engagement opportunities that the commission and city would be interested in pursuing.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gladstone. Awesome presentation, right under the time. So great job.
Thank
And we're
you.
looking forward to seeing your art in our parks. We love Desert X here. So thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for everything you do.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next we have Mr. Jeff Nelson.
Awesome. Mr. Nelson, are you there?
Hello?
Mr. Nelson.
Yes, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, sir. We can hear you. This is Jerry, the chair of public Parks and Rec. Your time limit is 3 minutes. And with that being said, we're going to start right now, sir.
Okay, thank you. Again, Jeff Nelson, appreciate the opportunity to address the commission. We submitted a presentation through email earlier today, and I wanted to address the swim center. We have formed a group, including myself, Rick Mignot, and Donna Newton, that and a number of other citizens who are concerned about the ongoing condition of the pool. And we believe that there is a need for significant involvement of the commission to exercise oversight to achieve improvements that are sorely overdue. At this point, what we see is the center operating in an ever declining and reduced manner. And we believe that immediate and sustained action is needed to turn the situation around and restore the swim center to what it should be. We've developed a very detailed review of the current situation, and that's in the presentation that I understand the commissioners have. We have suggested some immediate and some subsequent actions, and we've made it clear that we are interested in helping. We want to be part of the solution, recognizing that this should be an important asset for the community. We believe that the center has and should provide use for many different constituencies within the community, and that because of the fact that the facilities have become tired and neglected, that all of those uses are not being met. Most importantly, what we believe is that effective leadership is desperately needed at all levels. At the swim center, there's a need for aquatic supervisor, lead lifeguard, full staff. at the department. There needs to be much greater outreach to the community and open and honest communication. And on the part of your commission, we believe that you need to exercise strong and effective advocacy for the swim center and meaningful oversight of department staff. We know that there's a staffing situation, but other swim centers such as Palm Desert seem to manage to operate every single day without ever having to close. And so they seem to have solved the problem. I don't know how many of the commissioners actually ever go to the pool, but if you look at the restrooms, you'll see the pictures that we've included that just show a deplorable condition of the facility. We feel that vision and planning is needed, master plan, capital plan, operating plan. And we would like to see some immediate actions, which we've laid out in the presentation, and some subsequent actions. And with that, I believe I'm at 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nelson. We appreciate your comments. We'll take them into effect.
We have Mr. William Miller.
Did you say William Miller?
Yeah, I believe that's right, Chair Alcorn.
Perfect, thank you. Mr. Miller, can you hear me, sir? Mr. Miller, are you on?
Okay, I had to put myself in gear here.
No problem.
good
Just wanted to
evening.
let you know, FYI, hi, I'm Jerry Alcorn, I'm the chair. You have a 3-minute time limit for public comment and your time starts now, sir.
Yes, very good. Actually, I'm on the board of Sunrise Palms up here in the north end of town. I'm myself a certified arborist and a horticulturist. I've been involved in the field of horticulture for over 50 years. And I continue to educate myself. One thing I want to touch on is the tree destruction throughout the valley. At least 70% of the trees here in Palm Springs have been ruined by untrained, uneducated so-called gardeners. A pickup truck and a chainsaw does not make one an instant arborist. Many of the trees, city trees have been ruined, notably on the west side of the convention center. The trees have been hit many times in a drastic manner. And it's unfair to the trees. It's unfair to the birds that fly through here. This is a major flyway as well as butterfly transport area. So I would love to see the city look into the idea of being a tree city, saving our trees and requiring people who touch our trees to be trained to know what they're doing. Another thing is the sterilization of the city, the so-called desert landscapes, when you have rows of things like golden barrel cactus and plants that are that really don't do anything for nature in any way, shape, or form. This really needs to be revised. The water department has some regulations. The city has other regulations. It'd be nice if everybody got themselves together and required plant material that will actually enhance and support life. The local Asclepias, the milkweed, things like that. For instance, if you drive down Tackwoods Canyon, half the plants in there are missing and you can see the water emitters, but there are no plants. The plants have died. Put some desert plants in there that support life, that support our monarch butterflies populations, things like that. But I think that the city in general really needs to get itself together to help preserve the wildlife that's here. That's all I have to say. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. We appreciate you too. Thank you very much, sir. Hey, Mr. Miller, can I ask you one quick question before you go? You spoke about the trees. Was it on the north side of the convention center?
Sorry, I put it back into the attendees. Let me grab them again.
It's okay. Thank you.
Chair Alcorn, he should be back in there.
Awesome. Mr. Miller, are you here, sir?
Yes, I'm back.
Hey, sorry to bother you. I had a quick question. You spoke about the trees on the north side of the convention center, sir?
On the west side.
West side. Okay, I just want to make sure my notes are correct.
And also, if you're driving toward the convention center from the north heading south, the trees all through, my brain's not working. Caballeros, many of them have been ruined, just totally destroyed. In fact, the storage facility for one, and this is from a different area behind where Lowe's is, the Dinah Shore and
Yes, sir.
that area, Gene Autry, you see trees falling over, they're dead, they're gone. And because they've been attacked so heavily by the so-called arborists.
Thank you very much for those comments. I just wanted to clarify and make sure. We'll make sure to get the notes on. Thank you, sir.
Very have a safe night.
You too. Take care.
We have Mr. Jerry Braun.
Mr. Braun, are you on, sir? Mr. Braun, can you hear me? Mr. Braun, are you there?
I'm sorry, I was muted. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for the time. I'm Jerry Braun. I'm chair of the Sunrise Park Neighborhood Organization, one of the 53 1PS organizations in the city. And I just wanted to make a few comments. Our board has had some discussions about the dire need for improvements to Sunrise Park. Sunrise Park is in our neighborhood, and we have had the opportunity to use the facility, the pavilion facility, for some of our meetings. We actually have our annual meeting coming up on March 11th at the facility, and we're really appreciative of that. But we are really proud of Sunrise Park, that it's in our neighborhood, and it's actually, we believe, is one of the largest facilities, including the swim center, skate park, the stadium, etc. And we really feel that it's in need of some improvements. I know that tonight you're talking about prioritization of Parks and Recs projects. So we hope that Sunrise Park is one of your priorities for improvements, and we would love to have the opportunity to have input as a neighborhood, because it is near and dear to us, and it's really important to us and to the whole city as a great facility. We think it's underutilized, and there could be a lot done to utilize it more and to make it more beautiful. We know that, for instance, Opera in the Park is coming up soon, and that's something that we have attended as a neighborhood. We just think that if the park was more updated and utilized more fully, I think it could be a really great asset for the neighborhood. So I just wanted to forward on those comments, and I also sent an email earlier, but it might have been right under the wire for the meeting tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Braun. Is that all the comments you have for tonight, sir?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Just an
Keep us in mind.
FYI, as a commission and as a board, we are working on park improvements. This is our first year to ever have finances from the city, so it's in our scope, and we're trying.
Great, and we would love to have input into that process if there's opportunity for further input from the neighborhood.
Yes, sir. We have a park improvement subcommittee, and what I'll try to do is send you out a link to our Zoom meeting when we have meetings.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Next is Mr. Richard Minot.
Richard, can you hear me, sir? Richard, can you hear me, Richard?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, Richard. We see you now. So this is Chair Alcorn. Just want to let you know your talking starts now. You have 3 minutes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the commission. My name is Rick Migno, and I'm a homeowner here in Palm Springs for 15 years, and I'm a full-time resident of our community. I'm a retired executive who's had responsibility and oversight for some 250,000 employees and 5,000 locations in 83 countries. I'm also a fervent user of the Palm Springs Swim Center. I'm the head coach of the Palm Springs Master Swim Team, and I have 3 national certifications for swim coaching and swim instruction, and I'm at the Swim Center routinely 3 to 5 hours each day. I've run aquatic programs and facilities in the past and feel well qualified to provide comment in regard to this city facility. I'm extremely disappointed that in spite of numerous efforts over the last month, we have been unable to get onto the Parks and Recreation Commission agenda to discuss the issue of the swim center operation. Thus, we're relegated at this time to be part of the public forum and limited to 3-minute presentations. But we also understand from your posted agenda, quote, although the commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take action of items not listed in the posted agenda. Thus, we're kind of stuck in a quandary. We cannot get onto your agenda to deal with a significant item directly related to the operation of the Parks and Recreation Department, over which you have oversight authority. So in accordance with the Brown Act, you really can't take on any actions to deal with the issue. The city council, the city manager, the director of Parks and Recreation, local media, and hundreds of local residents are all aware of the significant problems that have been occurring at the swim center over time. Thus, it should be of no surprise to the commission that there are issues occurring at the facility. I know that in my 3-minute brief, I'm unable to do any justice in enumerating these problems. That being said, the swim center is in a downward spiral in terms of staffing, operation, pool maintenance, facility maintenance, management oversight, and overall programming. It's a shame that the swim center facility that should be a strong feature of the Palm Springs Recreation and Parks Department is looking very sad at this time. Of greatest and immediate concern to all is the fact that over the last 6 months, the swim center has been closed to the public regularly as a function of staffing issues which have not been addressed in any meaningful way. Promises that recruitment is underway to resolve the issue of understaffing have been hollow. Our group, the Swim Center Watchdogs, has, as outlined by Jeff Nelson, previously a part of this public forum, have provided you with a presentation which outlines a summary of some of our concerns.
Richard, with that, I hate to do this, but your time is up, sir. Sorry, sir.
All right, may I say 2 sentences to finish off?
Yes, sir.
It's my strongest hope and recommendation to the commission to ensure that the swim center operation be included as an item on your next agenda with the invitation for a formal presentation from the public on its concerns. And 2, that the commission create an ad hoc committee to deal with the community, to review the pool operation and report back with recommendations to the commission on this issue. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir.
That's it for anyone with hands up.
Any other public comment at this time? All right, with that being said, we're going to move this meeting on. Thank you all the public that shared. And at that time, we're going to move on to the director's report. Actually,
Okay,
can I, before we do the director's report, hey, Yvonne, is there any way of us putting on the agenda for next month to have a staff update on what's going on with the pool? Just so we can let these people know that we're working on it and we're trying to do everything we can to get it fulfilled for them.
absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so just my normal sort of director's report of things that have been going on that are Parks and Recreation related. Last week at the City Council meeting, City Council approved a new position for the Parks and Recreation Department, and this is the position of Aquatics Manager. So the Aquatics Manager would be above the Aquatic Supervisor, above the lead lifeguard, as well as the lifeguards. And what this will do is create sort of an organizational structure that matches our other facilities like the James O. Jesse Center, as well as the Demuth Community Center. So we're excited to have this additional headcount that's been added to our department. And that was just last week on Tuesday. We are still operating our two community centers, James O. Jesse and the Demuth Community Center, as warming centers. These came in great value last week with all of the rain. And I believe the County of Riverside even gave us a supply of blankets that we were able to distribute as well. Just again, some highlights of what programming we have offered at the James O. Jesse Center. A lot of focus on our athletics. Still in motion. I won't go through the full list, but there you can see that on your screen. And then in addition, our programming at the James O. Jesse Center is also focused on educational support for youth, as well as programs for our mature adults as well.
Awesome.
Jumping over to the Demuth Community Center, we also have a full lineup of athletic recreational activities for youth and adults to enjoy, as well as indoor pickleball for those who don't want to play outside on our Demuth courts. Over at the swim center, we had talked at last month's meeting about the survey that we released on the swim lane reservation system. So we had collected feedback from the public. The survey closed on January 15th, and it was our intention at that point to implement some improvements to the lane reservation system based on that feedback that we received. We have since paused any action on that swim survey as we are right now focused on the staffing resource needs for the swim center, and we don't want to make any changes right now on the swim survey, and instead prioritize our time to be more focused on the staffing resources there. We do have water aerobics, which has moved to Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 to 11. And that's just a simple, I think, $5 fee. We are, based on days and times where we have less staffing resources, we are modifying the operational hours of the swim center so that they're aligned with the staffing resources of that day. For recruitments and new positions, I mentioned the aquatic manager position was approved last week. Our lifeguard trainees, the recruitment for that is already posted, as well as recruitment for lead lifeguards as well. Some special events that just took place over the past week. We had the U.S. Air Force Band of the Golden West concert that performed last Tuesday night at the Plaza Theater. We estimate we probably had about 350 attendees at this event. And our own Vice Chair Cola Donato actually provided the welcoming remarks on behalf of the city. So thank you, Vice Chair Cola Donato, for doing that.
That was a great event. It was very cool.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
February, of course, is Black History Month. Last Friday, we had a paint night event at the Demuth Community Center. And then on Sunday, which was rescheduled from Saturday due to the rain that we had the 36th Annual Black History Parade and Town Fair. And I also want to just give an employee shout out to our special events manager, Jasmine Waits, who was also recognized by PS1 for all of the work that she does with special events around the city.
Atta girl.
Mhm. Some website updates. So websites at the City of Palm Springs, each department is responsible for making the updates to their own website. And what that means is that there can be a lot of variation in what one department's website pages look like compared to other departments. We have been just receiving feedback from the public about some of our web pages, and it's hard to find information. So we've been working on rolling out improvements to our website. This is just sort of a screen capture of what the main section for Parks and Recreation looks like. And we've got the menu bar on the left with administration, facilities, parks, a section for project updates, as well as special events to try to make it easier and clearer to find the information that you may need. If you go under facilities, you'll see the section for the swim center. Because we have been changing those operational hours on a more regular basis than normal, we are now putting those facility updates on the swim center page. So these are the updates for the reduced hours that are happening this week. And there's also a link on this webpage as well to look at the results of the survey that went out. And you can see that on the right side of the screen there. Oh, and we also have at the bottom of that, yeah, the link to the hiring too that we're doing. This is the section then for the Parks and Recreation Commission. And we are also trying to make our Parks and Recreation Commission information easier to find for the public as well. So what we did is we looked at what a lot of other departments were doing, and we sort of picked from the best of the departments. So for 2023, what you'll see moving forward is our organization sort of organized into a kind of column format where you'll see the agenda, the correspondence documents, the link to the video, as well as a link to click on the minutes from each of those meetings. And we're hoping that this format will be easier for the public to find our information. So that's just what it looks like right now today, is when that screen captures from. And this is our project update section. So we had also received feedback over the past couple of months that the public wanted to know just more, about what types of projects we're working on. We don't have the format of this page really working yet. Our, photos aren't lining up right with our text, but this will be the area that we will continue to provide those updates for members of the community between our Parks and Rec Commission meetings who want to see what's in motion and the status of those projects. So this is working, but needs work. I do have a couple upcoming events that I want to put on everyone's radar. So coming up on Saturday, March 18th, will be our final community flea market at the Demuth Community Center for our season. And then I believe we're planning to start that up after the summer season as well. It has been a great pilot program, and I believe it will continue to grow for the community. One PS, the 14th annual picnic is happening at Ruth Hardy Park on Saturday, March 28th from 11 to 2. And as always, Parks and Rec will be there providing, fun activities for the community, as well as answering questions about who we are and what we do. Coming up on Saturday, April 8th, the city will be celebrating the 85th anniversary of the City of Palm Springs. So this will be a big event happening from 12 to 9, with most activities happening at Downtown Park. On Saturday, April 15th, our department is producing a World Art Day event at Demuth Park from 3 to 10 to get people excited about the connection between the arts and parks. And then the last item is, at last month's meeting, I talked about us planning a Parks and Recreation open house as a way that we could be sort of more accessible to the community to talk about all of the projects that we're doing, whether that be dog parks, pickleball, recreational programs that we offer. This has been a little bit delayed, so we still don't have the date on it yet, just based on some other priorities that have been happening at the swim center. But we will continue to work on this and get you a date for that community outreach open house shortly.
Awesome.
Staffing. Okay, so this is excited. So since our last Parks and Recreation Commission meeting, we have hired 5 additional employees for our department. So we now have an account clerk who will be overseeing all of our financial paperwork and paying of the bills, for lack of, an easier way of saying that. And we've also hired 4 recreation program assistants, and they have all already started with us. So we're really excited to start filling a significant number of vacancies that we have in our department right now. In terms of other vacancies, our program coordinator seat, or a program coordinator seat, is still vacant, as well as our seats for 4 park rangers. And we are currently in the interview process on those positions. So those 5 positions right now are in already the interview stage. Coming up, though, we will be interviewing for our lifeguard trainees, our lifeguards, as well as lead lifeguard. Those interviews have not taken place yet, but we have been working closely with our HR department on developing a recruitment campaign to get people excited about being lifeguards. So the lifeguarding shortage that we are currently experiencing in Palm Springs is not unique to Palm Springs. Palm Desert is also having the same issue and has had to reduce its operational hours as well as significant beach communities in the state of California are all having trouble recruiting lifeguards. So our HR department has worked with us and is doing a significant push on radio, social media. They'll be at a career fair this Thursday, and they've been producing videos and photos to really get people excited about working for the city of Palm Springs, as well as being a lifeguard for us. Those recruitments for our lifeguard positions will take place on Tuesday, March 7th, between 1 to 4, and that will include an interview process as well as the customary swim testing. And these are just some of the fun images that have been shot at the pool lately, in addition to our fire department doing their rescue training that we have also been pushing out on social media as a way to get people excited about being involved with the Palm Springs Swim Center. There's some really fun things that take place there. And then, of course, we have our police and fire dogs on the left as well. These are just some screen captures from a video that the city shot and produced to promote our lifeguard positions. Now, I didn't include the actual video, but I can do that in a future meeting for anyone who wants to see that. Oh, so for other new faces around the city, we have a new Public Works Director, and I just want to check. I am not sure if we have David with us tonight. We may, yes, we do. Okay, so I'm going to, let's make sure we get David into the meeting. So David joined the city a few months ago as our new Public Works Director. Let me see, David, I think we have just let you into the meeting. So I wanted to give David the opportunity to say hello and to introduce himself, because as you know, Parks and Rec really works hand in hand with our Public Works Department as well. So David, are you there?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Yvonne. It's a pleasure to be introduced tonight. Thank you very much. As Yvonne mentioned, I think I'm in my just over 3 months with the city. I come from a long background of public works experience and always have worked really close with our recreation folks. We really do. It is really an integral part of both of our departments. So absolutely, we want to be here to help and assist and get projects completed and whatever else comes down the road. So I look forward to working with all of you, and I'm excited to bring my experience here to Palm Springs. So thank you.
Thank you, David, and welcome to the city of Palm Springs as well. We're really happy to have you. And I think that is yes, that is the last slide in my director's report for this evening.
Nice. Thank you, Yvonne. Appreciate that. So at this point, we're going to go to presentation action items. Number one on the action items, park landscape conversion for Desert Highland.
So I'm going to take this one as well. So over the past several months, we have been working on those landscape conversion plans to take some of the grassy areas in the 5 parks that are on your screen and convert them into drought tolerant landscaping. All of the plans have been developed, and based on some feedback at last month's Parks and Rec Commission meeting, you asked that we have our consultant go back and look at some additional areas at Desert Highland. So tonight I just wanted to show the additional area that was added at Desert Highland, and then request your action to move that forward. So this is the previous concept where Conserve divided Desert Highland into 8 areas. We asked them to include a 9th area, which you can see on the screen there, which is the area that was around the facility itself. And in particular, the area that is around the murals that are on the facade of the James O. Jesse Center. And here are just some images of those murals. And the idea was to create some drought tolerant landscaping that would create some distance between the grass and the sidewalk, or really the grass and those murals. So here is the concept that Conserve came up with. And as you can see on the left side of your screen, and I do have some zoomed in areas on some of the subsequent slides, but what you'll see is what they're proposing is a new 5 feet deep landscape conversion. It would have a metal edge. There you go. So you can see this is adjacent to the maintenance yard side of the building. So it'll have a metal edge where the grass meets the new desert scape. Those areas would be filled in with crushed DG as well as stabilized decomposed granite. There would also be a number of stepping stone paths, and you can see a few of those on the screen right now. I think there's 5 in total that would help move pedestrians from the grassy areas back onto those sidewalks. And here you can see those additional areas. With that one is an existing stepping stone path, which is sort of one of the main walkways from the parking lot. I think I have, no, I don't. That's the last one. From the parking lot to the sidewalk at the James O. Jesse Center. And then this is just a sort of blow up that actually shows some of those plantings that they have selected as well as the DG selection. So tonight, based on this update to the landscaping conversion concept for Desert Highland, we are requesting your vote and action so that we can move this one forward to council as well with the other park conversion plans.
Let me ask the opinion right now of Commissioner Crawford. What do you think of these plans, sir? Crawford and Diaz, they're the 2 that are up there the most. I like it, but I gotta see what their opinion is on it.
I'll go first. I like that they eliminated the grass near the mural and the entrance. So yeah, on number 9 that we're looking at. My only concern was that the number 5, that the desert landscaping would impact the sports field area where there's usually baseball and football going on. That was my only concern. And then I had a question about the metal edging. Just how high is it? Just so it's not a trip hazard if you're walking through it, or if it'll be level kind of with the dirt and the grass transition.
Yeah, so I believe that would be level, and we can also make sure that that gets incorporated into the plan too, that it does not create a trip hazard.
And I agree with Dieter in terms of not putting anything around that whole big field area there. It looks like, well, it looks like 5 and 6 kind of, right? I don't know if that's 8 under there. But just to keep that, we don't want to put cactus in there if the kids are going to be having football practice and, rolling into some of these plants that are over here. And then the walkway from the parking lot into the front doors of the community center. Just, taking into account that there are a lot of elderly people that have to cross that area. And just to make it as safe and as smooth as possible. And my other comment is all of this will be really great, but that park is so infested with ground squirrels. And there's so many holes, I've stood on the grass and it's caved in with the amount of rodents that are underneath that ground. I don't want all of this money and time and energy to be put into this park if that's gonna they're just gonna turn it all up and put holes in it. That was my other thing.
Okay, and we are doing critter abatement in some other areas right now, so we'll make sure that Desert Highland gets included as well.
It's of all the parks I go to, it's the worst. And it's super, like even just where sidewalks meet, and there'll be a hole that goes right there and goes underneath the sidewalks even. And, when we leave meetings at night and it's dark and I'm walking out with some of our elderly residents, they trip on all that stuff. And it's just super unsafe.
Time to go Caddyshack style.
Well, I've been saying that and somebody said that's not the way we're supposed to do it, but you can't get rid of them and I don't know what abatement means. To me, that means like talking to them and trying to get them to scurry away somewhere. I think we need something more powerful than that, but
I think it might be a little bit more powerful. I just like to say the softer word, maybe.
okay. Because yeah, it's not, it's really bad over there. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Diaz. Thank you, Mr. Crawford. So with that being said, can we get a motion to approve these to move forward for it so we can move it towards city council?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Finland.
Yeah, I motion too. But both Dieter and Jody brought up really good points. So yeah, I mean, if we could get that taken care of, it's something that we should bring forward.
Yes, sir. We're trying. We got to get the turf. We're doing the turf removal. And then before even we get any new turf or anything down, new landscape, they're going to have to go through and do the abatement. Something. We'll make sure we get it added to the list. So with that being said, we need to take a vote on bringing this forward to adding it to our landscape version.
So we can do the roll call vote if we
Yes,
want.
ma'am.
or
We got a first and a
With that,
second.
okay, with that feedback included that we've
ma'am.
memorialized, okay, for tonight. Chair Alcorn,
I approve it, yes.
Vice Chair Coladonato,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawford,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Finland,
Yes.
and Commissioner Moralia.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries with Commissioners Meyer and Spellman excused.
Thank you, ma'am. So guys, we will be looking into that and working on the critter abatement, okay? Number 2 is playground equipment at Victoria Demuth Park. I just want to let the commissioners know this is not us selecting those 2 in particular parks. Our park equipment has a 15-year lifespan, and these 2 particular parks have come up on their lifespan. So we have to replace the equipment. We're at that time. So we're in the preliminary stages of getting new equipment and getting it all arranged. And this is where we're at right now, guys.
So for this one, we also have some representatives from Miracle Recreation with us today, who I will introduce to you in just a second, and they'll walk through the concepts that they're proposing for Demuth as well as Victoria Park. And for those who might be listening in tonight, I also have some photos to share of the existing parks to help orient the conversation as well. So I will just start with Demuth. There we go. So this map shows the 2 playground areas that we currently have at Demuth. So Mesquite Avenue would be at the top of your screen. The larger area on the left is our primary playground, which has the equipment for 5 to 12 years old. The smaller area on the right is the existing playground with equipment for 2 to 5-year-olds. This visual here shows that primary playground area, and I'm going to show you a few more images, and we'll be sort of rotating clockwise around the playground. So here you see sort of the large centralized play structure with various slides. And then as we move towards the left of this, so you can see that structure there in the back, you'll see the swing sets on your left. And then I'm going to show the next slide as we keep rotating around a little bit further to the left. So there you see those swings again. And you're just starting to see on the left side of your screen a climbing structure. So there's that climbing structure as well. And then one more photo to show that climbing area as well. And you can see the current ground cover as well, that we currently don't have a shade structure over the Demuth playground equipment. So I want to hand it over right now to, I believe we've got Charlotte Smith and Bryce Lawrence on our call tonight. Charlotte, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you guys
Okay.
Okay.
We can hear you as well.
Okay, perfect. So this right here is just the top view of what we can replace this existing playground with. We used our refresh program on this one, which is where we keep the main posts, they're green. So you'd keep those main posts, and then we would replace everything around those posts as brand new and then repaint the posts. We replaced that climber that you saw, that existing climber, with our newer Chaos climber. It's just pretty much an upgrade for you guys. And then the swings we refreshed. I believe we might have added another bay of swings, or is that just 2? Oh no, it's just 2. So we have the refreshed swings. So we have, new chain hardware and the new belt seats. And then you guys had a rock wall where that spinner is now. So we replaced that rock wall with the spinner. That's one of our newer climbers. And with this, you can change, the colors whenever you want and things like that. But that's pretty much the overview of what we did for Demuth. Bryce, do you have anything else to add, or do you guys have any questions about this one?
Me personally, I have 2 questions. We've been looking at the colors, and there's no way of making, we're Palm Springs, we're all inclusive, we're all everything, but we're really, is there any way of having rainbow for the seats for the swings? Number 1. And number 2, is there any way of having an ADA accessible swing?
Bryce, I believe we don't have anything custom for the swings, right? It's just standard colors.
We do have standard colors. There's a couple of the primary, the red, blue, yellow, and then we have brown, black. So we could kind of get some of them in there, could do like red, blue, yellow, green in there.
Okay.
But you couldn't do like rainbow on the exact seat itself. As far as I know, I don't know a manufacturer that can kind of rotomold multiple colors into one sweet seat like that. But I can definitely look into it. And then as far as the inclusive ADA seat, yes, we can absolutely add one of those to one or two of these, however many you want, to these structures. They would just replace one of the existing belt seats that can fit in that same bay.
Nice. Me personally, I don't care about the rotor molding of rainbow on each seat. I'm just talking like, can we get like, you know what I mean, red, blue, yellow, green, purple, or, you know, for the all, like one color for each seat is what I'm looking for. Just so it shows, you know, our pride and what we're really all about. And secondly, I'd love, like I said, ADA in every park. We'd like to get ADA in every park, so it's all inclusive for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, we could do the, this one only has 4 seats. If you wanted to, we could expand the swing seat. It might cut into that climber there. We might have to readjust some things, but we could expand it if you wanted to add more colors. But yes, we could do the 4, I believe, 4 colors of the rainbow that we have now on each one of those seats.
Okay, and is there there's toddler seats on there too? So we have like bucket seats as well?
This design, this is the 5 to 12. It does not have bucket seats, mainly because we don't recommend them for ages 5 to 12. Realistically, they're for 2 to 5, but even then, it's a small 2 to 3-year-old. After that, you do have issues with some of the toddler swings. If you want to go that route, my recommendation would be what we call our generation swing. So it's all rotomolded plastic, but you may have heard it under the name of like a mommy and me swing. So it has basically a bucket on one side that's connected to a belt essentially that you so the mother and the child can swing on the same swing together.
Perfect.
They're a little bit larger.
I
We
believe
need
we
that,
have one at
'cause we-
Victoria.
Yeah, we need that at every park too. We need that at every, so put that on the list, please.
Perfect.
Excuse me, you guys. Sorry, I'm just telling you stuff I'm hearing from the community. We need a mother and me seat at every park, and we need an ADA seat at every park.
Perfect. We can do that.
So then this is the existing 2 to 5-year-old play equipment that's at Demuth right now. And I just have one photo of this area so you can see what we currently have there. And then I'm going to hand it back over to Charlotte and Bryce to kind of walk through the new concept for that area.
So this is the same kind of idea. So we would leave the green center stage post and then replace everything new around that. And then we added the shade structure above that, and we added 2 new freestanding. We have one climber, and then we have our new dynamics lab is what it's called. Instead of the crawl tube you guys have there. And then I believe you guys have a spring rocker and then another bongo perch. So we replaced those 2 items with the 3 items that you have there now. And like I said before, we can change the colors on anything. So if you guys still wanted to do, maybe incorporate some rainbow into the actual play structure, we can do that as well.
Yeah, just bright and inviting, not really so much green and tan.
Totally.
So dull and deserty.
Yeah, we can do that.
Cool, just bright. We like bright.
Okay.
We can definitely do that. And I just want to touch on the Dynamics Lab that you see on the right-hand side there. That's one of our newer pieces that came out a little over a year ago. And the whole idea behind it was they basically went to science museums with all the interactive kind of experiments that they have that kids can do. And they brought it to the playground. So I know we were talking about inclusivity a little bit earlier. This is really great. It's really tactile with motor skills and things like that. So it is really great for those, especially that 2 to 5 age group, as opposed to what is there now, like the crawl tube. Kids love it, but I mean, it's just a tube. And the fun phone that's there, which the talking tube, talk through one end, hear out the other. Again, it's a timeless piece, but it is a little outdated, and we have had issues where people want to remove those because kids run into them.
Bryce, you got muted. Somebody got muted.
It's not Bryce.
Can you still hear me?
Yes, there we go.
Okay. Yeah, so that dynamics piece is just one of our newer one. I think that's a really great piece. You'll notice also on both designs that we proposed, what's shown in the rendering is port in place surfacing. It's solitary surfacing. That is the current top of the line that we recommend. Right now you have a mixture of these wood chips with tiles. We can do tiles as well, although we do advise against it personally, just because of our experience with them. If needed to swap anything out down the line or anything like that, they do create problems because the holes have to be cut directly in the same spot on the tile. And then also they do tend to peel at the edges, which cause tripping hazards. So that's why we do prefer the unitary solids rubber surfacing. But again, it's up to you. We can do whichever one you'd like.
Okay, yeah, the reason we went with tile is because if it gets worn out, we can replace each tile. We didn't hear about the peeling at the edges.
Yeah, it's something we've experienced in the past. They peel at the edges, and we work really closely with contractors. And I know from their experience, while on the customer side, it may seem really simple, contractors hate replacing the tiles because they're not fun to replace when you have to, for instance, if something needs to have a new footing or something like that, it's not fun to try to peel those tiles out in the middle because of the way that they're connected. And then with the rubber surfacing, you would just patch the hole that they left. And we've seen it done a couple ways, either with the existing color or they basically, if there multiple patches are required, then they like to do them in a little design so it doesn't, stand out as patchy rubber.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. And they have good, far better life expectancy.
Okay, so we can jump over to Victoria Park. So this is the map of Victoria Park. Victoria obviously has both sort of play areas for the 2 to 5 as well as the 5 to 12 together. Just orient you, you've got Miralest on the left and then Racquet Club at the bottom of your screen. And then I'll just do the same thing and show you some of the photos of what Victoria Park currently looks like right now. And as you can see, as we are getting ready to replace that equipment, you can see that parts of Victoria Park Playground are already enclosed in fencing. So I'm just going to move clockwise again around. We're going the wrong way. Now we're going to try to move clockwise around Victoria Park. You're kind of facing towards Miralest in this direction. You can see the centralized sort of climbing structure. Here's the area for the smaller kid play area. It's still moving around. Larger kids and slide.
Nice.
There you can see some of those tiles and then rubber kind of chips that are currently there. If I remember correctly, I think those are the rubber ones that are there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm going to hand it back over to Charlotte and Bryce to kind of walk through the new concept for Victoria Park.
Okay, so for this one, we didn't end up doing the refresh on this one because when me and David went out there, we kind of shook the posts and it was all rusted underneath and it wasn't stable. So we obviously couldn't keep those posts. So this one's a full replacement. Bryce, do you want to go over this one since you're the designer of this guy?
Yeah, no problem. So this one we wanted to go with a entirely different concept for the playground. The new one is, as you can see, very different from the existing. We wanted to, first off, we wanted to move things a little bit. You have this really big area that you have a long, skinny 5 to 12 structure in, and then a kind of 2 to 5 tucked off to the side. So it wasn't the best use of space, in my opinion. If you go back to the pictures of the existing structure, you can see that while it's tall and, for kids, it is exciting. Go back one more, I believe, one more. See here, one too far.
Oops. This one?
That one. You can see here that a lot of it, you go from, you got a bridge to a deck to another bridge. There's not a whole lot of play value there. It's high up and it looks exciting, but there's nothing, not a lot for them to do. So I wanted to go ahead and try to give them more to do. So in our design, we used our new hyperbolic system, which is the net systems that you can see on our renderings. If you could go back to the renderings, please.
How does that hyperbolic hold up to the sun and the heat?
Actually, it works out better than most things because realistically, it's just rope with metal beams. So we use these in a lot of high traffic areas because, you know, they tend to get a little more beat up. And then as far as the heat, the rope doesn't get hot. It is steel core, but the rope around it keeps it cool. The metal gets, you know, as hot as any other metal place piece on a playground. But so far they've held up great in the winter and the summer. Our winters are a little bit different here in the rest of the country, but well, unless you look at Saturday. And so it holds up really well, but we wanted to give this really exciting idea and kind of obstacle course feel. So you can see the Chaos Climber in the top left, which we also used at Demuth, which is kind of the start of this. You start there and then you can climb across all of these to get onto the structure and kind of have an obstacle course built into your integrated structure. You can see down in this bottom right corner, we have what's called a piece of our mini city line, which is called the Chattery. It doesn't have a lot of play value necessarily, but what we've been experiencing a lot with playgrounds and trying to be more inclusive is a lot of times kids just need an area to relax. Sometimes they get a little overwhelmed. So this Chattery is a place where they can sit. It's not shown in the rendering, but there would be a shade. So it's cool. They can sit and relax and maybe be away from the hustle and bustle if they need that. Here's a 2 to 5 structure right in the middle there because they don't need as much room. Again, we incorporated some of our newer components on that. 2 to 5 is a tricky age group because it has to be smaller and things like that. But in all reality, what we end up seeing at these parks is even the 2 and 3-year-olds want to go play on the big one. So that's where we put most of our effort was into that larger structure. And then on the swings, you can actually see on this one, we did include in that middle bay, we did include our generation swing or the mommy and me swing. And then on the closest bay to us is the toddler swings, although we could swap those out for the ADA swings if you'd like.
Yeah, I would like that, please.
And then we did propose a new shade over the whole structure. This would be a custom shade mainly just because of the shape and size of the pit. It makes it a little difficult to do a kind of standard rectangle. So we did propose this, which would cover everything but the swings. We can extend that to cover the swings if need be. We'll just have to take that into account because they have some specific rules in regards to the 2 fro zone, the front and back, as to where that shade can be over it. So if we do want to extend that over, please let me know. We can absolutely add that.
I think so. Yes, please put it in the price because that's one of the main things kids use.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm not trying to tell you what to do on everything here. But
I appreciate the feedback.
shade
And these
and
are just-
ADA accessible.
What was that?
I said shade and ADA accessible are 2 of the main things.
Absolutely. Yeah. All of our playgrounds are ADA accessible. That's the only way we design them. There is a kind of a flip-flop that people generally use when ADA and inclusive come into the same conversation. So again, all of our structures are ADA. If you want more inclusivity, which isn't necessarily just ADA, it's trying to include people of all different age groups and those with disabilities, but different types of disabilities, because in reality, actually only 1% of children that have a disability are in a wheelchair. And I know most people like to think, well, not like to think, but then most people think when you say disability, it's a child in a wheelchair and they're accessing the playground, but that's actually only 1%. So we try to think of other things as well as like kids on the spectrum and things like that to make our playgrounds a little more inclusive for everyone.
Cool.
Any other questions?
No, it looks good. Just want to make sure to have something in there for those 1%.
Absolutely. And you can see it's on this bottom left image in the bottom left corner, there's a step there. That's called a transfer point, and that's on all of our structures, and that allows kids to step up one way, but then there's an opening on the side where a child in a wheelchair could go up and transfer onto the platform, and then all of our steps meet ADA compliance as far as the width and the rise of them. So they could hypothetically, if need be, they could pull themselves around the playground and access everything on that structure.
Cool, that's cool. I think, that's awesome, but an ADA swing is what we're looking for too. Accessible. That'd be cool. Thank you. It looks really good. Just bright colors is what we're looking for. This and bright colors, super bright.
Perfect. We could do that.
Looks like we have a couple commissioners. We've got Commissioner Crawford, I see.
So yeah, say I don't have hands or anything, but anybody have any comments on here? Any other commissioners, please speak up.
Got Commissioner Crawford.
Yeah, my question is probably more for staff. I actually went to the park a month or so ago at Victoria, and I was wondering why the little chain link fence was there blocking a portion of the playground. I'm guessing it's not usable or unsafe. But my question was, is it unsafe, and how long will it take to get the new structure installed, since it's been out of commission for a while already?
So what I understand is for us to get through the procurement process and then to get that existing playground demoed and then the new one installed, that we could be looking at a 6-month period of time. Once we get started and sort of have finalized these selections, we'll be able to provide more periodic updates as that timeline, gets adjusted. But it's a fairly long lead time for these types of items.
Okay, and was it unsafe? Is that the reason why it was fenced off?
Yeah, those posts are rusty now, so they're past their sort of useful life now.
Yeah, Dieter, it got to the point where when there was too many kids on the playground, if they were shifting, you would feel the whole thing shift instead of just it being solid. So just as a safety hazard, they had to rope it off, man. We don't want like a Duluth Park lighting incident where it just falls down on us.
My question was the exact same about the timeline, because I also noticed that it was fenced off a few weeks ago.
And then can I just ask on the shade structure for Demuth? Were you fine with that shade structure not going over the swing set as well?
Me personally, I would love to see shade over the swings too. It's one of the biggest things our families and our people that use the park on a regular basis, that use these facilities for this reason, need is shade over the swings and over the play actual area.
So then I just want to check with either Charlotte or Bryce or maybe even David. So those posts wouldn't already exist. So is that possible for Demuth right now or no?
It would be possible, but I would defer to Bryce, but I believe it would have to be a separate structure.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. It's probably gonna have to be a 4-post shade over that, because it has to be like a height requirement because of the swings. So it'd have to be another separate 4-post shade structure, just like you see like the 2 to 5 right there.
Right. So would you be okay with a separate structure like that?
Now, that being said, I'll talk to the shade manufacturer, because we already have those posts going all the way over to the 2 to 5. We may be able to add 2 more posts on the outside of the swings. They're going to be taller posts for sure, but we might be able to add those and just add it to the proposed shade, so it's all one continuous sail shade.
All right. Thank you, Bryce.
No problem.
And then maybe some of those details we can take back to our park enhancement then ad hoc as those get, as renderings get made as well.
So our question for people that are designing this, are we gonna redo the flooring again? Am I hearing this correct? We're gonna have a new floor poured again on this?
Yes. What is there will be completely removed and it will be all pour in place. You won't have sand or any of the chips. And really the sand and the chips are just not safe. You get
No, I know,
glass.
but I'm talking about the new
needles get in
flooring.
there.
It's quintessential, the city of Palm Springs, is we get new streets repaved, and Desert Water, he comes through and rips up the streets and puts new pipes in. We just got new flooring put in all these parks. Now we're coming through, ripping them up, putting new shade and new playground structures in. I wish there would have been some forethought instead of just rush through this.
If it makes you feel any better, you guys aren't the only city to deal with it. We recommend it all the time, and people put new flooring down, and then 2 years later, go, hey, we want a new playground.
Yeah. Seems like a continuous loop here with this place. So I'm just making sure that's what's happening. Okay. Cool.
So tonight we were hoping to, based on your feedback and input, we were hoping we were getting a action to continue moving the item forward, or with additional sort of feedback going through our park enhancement ad hoc as well, if needed, or as needed.
So at this point, I got to say, if we're going to move this forward, can we get a motion to approve and to vote on it? I think with the amendments we spoke of tonight, ADA accessibility for swings, shade structures, bright colors, and all the amendments we asked for, if we can make that happen, I'm more than happy to. I will motion to move this. I'll say I'll move this forward.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Finland.
Okay, and I will do the roll call vote. Alcorn,
Yes.
Donato,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Diaz,
Yes.
Finland,
Yes.
and Moralia.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries with Commissioners Meyer and Spellman excused. Thank you. And thank you to our presenters who also joined us tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Yes, thank you too very much for joining us. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to present.
Okay, with that being said, we're gonna move on to our next item, which is Parks and Rec project prioritizations. So with this, I'm gonna hand this over to Yvonne.
So this item is just a discussion item tonight. This is not meant to prioritize specifically any of our projects, but I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about maybe the process that we would use to begin prioritizing projects and why we may even need to begin prioritizing some of our projects. So we often get a lot of questions about how do projects get done at the City of Palm Springs, and the reality is we do this through a project resource management system. And that project resource management system involves looking at resources, so looking at staffing resources, and then looking at the funding resources, and then developing a plan that would have a scope, schedule, and budget, as well as then determining when that timeline would be for completion. When we look at staffing resources, when we look at that sort of like that first component, the resource side of project management, we need to look at resources across multiple departments on many projects. Some projects may only involve Parks and Recreation staffing, but many of our larger projects really do involve us allocating staffing resources from multiple departments to advance them. So sometimes it's Parks and Recreation, or it's pretty much always Parks and Recreation, I should say. Sometimes that might be engineering staff. Sometimes that may be staffing from our Public Works Department. And our Public Works Department is really that maintenance crew, facilities, as well as parks is who encompasses Public Works. Procurement is often involved because we are typically doing a procurement process. And then contractors. Our staffing resources may also involve external staffing resources. For instance, like when we're working with Conserve Land Care on our landscape conversion projects, as well as Miracle Recreation for our playground refresh and new equipment. So that's one side of looking at our project resource management, the staffing side. And then we also need to look on each project at that funding resource side. So funding for everything that we do may come from one or a variety of funding resources. Departments have funding to do projects and to move initiatives forward. Sometimes that's Parks and Recreation, and sometimes that may be like our sustainability department. So we need to determine where the funding's coming from. Is there capital improvement funding to do one of our projects? Is it Measure J funded? Is it funded through the Quimby Act, or is it funded through any grants? And obviously funding on grants does tend to come with a pretty determined timeline for utilization of that grant funding. So those are the types of things that we want to be thinking about on everything that we do. Where is that funding coming from as well? This is a list right now, and this list tonight is not meant for us to go through the list right now and prioritize the list, but for us to just sort of have a brief discussion on how we may want to approach project prioritization and why we even need to approach prioritizing the sequence that we are doing our projects. And the biggest reason right now that we need to start talking about how we prioritize things is that our staffing resources right now within the Parks and Recreation Department, as well as other key departments at the city, they're not aligned with the number of projects that have already been funded or approved to move forward. So we need to determine how we can get sort of those staffing resources more in alignment with the funding for projects or the commission's and public's desire to see those projects move forward on a faster timeline. The list on the left has a lot of the projects that we are already currently working on. So you'll see, we've got the interim enhancements to the pickleball courts, as well as the larger project to do that pickleball court expansion. Same thing with the Demuth Dog Park that we tend to regularly talk about in the ad hoc updates from Commissioner Moralia. There's interim enhancements there, as well as a larger 3.3 million capital improvement. The recreation ball field lighting for Demuth and Sunrise. We have exercise equipment that needs to be repaired at the Wellness Park, as well as exercise equipment needs to be added up at Desert Highland. Swim Center needs a lot of work. It needs those locker rooms, fencing, as well as an ADA ramp, which is down just a little bit lower on the list. And this list is not prioritized in any specific order. It's just sort of as I was just sort of typing up the list of things that we're working on. In addition, though, to working on projects, our department also does a lot of work that's sort of associated with the administration side of who we are and what we do. So recruitments right now are vital for us to be able to have the staffing resources needed to advance those projects. We also are wanting to work on developing standard operating procedures, because that's a best practice, to make sure it's really clear the methodology for decision making. And if someone's out of the office, it's easy for someone else to step in and for things to continue to move forward seamlessly. We want to be working on policy development. We want to make those updates to our website. We want to work on communication tools to enhance our communications, as well as be a little bit more proactive with social media and flyers and being out in the community to really talk about who we are and all the good that we are doing. Of course, we need to sort of develop and staff all of our recreational programs. We need to train staff, do contracts and agreements and, all those other sorts of things. So this, again, is not meant to be an exhaustive list of who we are and what we do, but just sort of, start creating a little bit of a framework for what some of our challenges are going to be and the reason that we will need to start thinking about prioritization of projects. This graphic here then just really shows that for everything that we do, we really want to start asking the questions, where we start with the resources. So for staffing, we want to do that workload analysis. What are the needs? for staffing, and do we have the staffing, and how many departments, may be involved in supporting the project to move it forward. And then we want to look at the funding. What is that financial analysis? What are the funding needs for the project, as well as what is the availability of the funds, and is there a timeline associated that might be driving some of our decision making on some of those funds. And with that, we will be better able to develop that plan with the scope, schedule, budget, and be able to figure out the timelines for completion much better moving forward. So if there's any just sort of, initial thoughts, or feedback, we'd be happy, or I'd be happy to hear any of that right now. But otherwise, I'm not expecting this discussion item right now to be a sort of matrix of determining those priorities, but to just sort of plant the seed that this is something that we need to do. We do not have the existing staffing resources that we need right now to keep up with a sort of fast response time and expeditious sort of flow and progress on completing each of our projects. And that means, because of that, that there will be, there'll be longer timelines than, that we may be personally happy with, until we can spend enough time to get those staffing resources to match the needs in the community. And I don't think I have any more. Yeah, I have no more slides on that one.
Awesome. Any questions for her on this?
My only question would be, how can we help? What can we do to help you get the staffing that you need? Like, can we do anything? Can we do community outreach? Can we help spread the word, just word of mouth? Like, what can we do to make that happen? That seems like we all are invested in this. We all know a lot of people. Like, is it literally just me talking to, like, whatever, the 150 people that I know I could reach out to and say, do you know somebody who's good at this or this or this? Would that help? Can we do that?
Some of it for us is actually going to be the creation of new positions. So for instance, right now, our department does not have project manager positions, which are integral to making sure that larger projects get completed for Parks and Recreation. So I can sort of work on our strategy of the timing for that, but that item, of course, would be adding headcount to our department. I believe it's needed, though, for us to be able to provide the level of service that this community needs. So some of that will be sort of advocacy and support on those types of requests that go to council.
Nice. So with that being said, is there anything else? I mean, we can spread the word, we can help out. We need staff is the bottom line. Is we need people to fill these positions to get this stuff done. So yeah, if you know anybody, spread the word.
But the other question is the city willing to hire that staff? Like, are you telling me we have the budget for, like, if I knew people who were good at project management and I could send you three resumes, like, is the city prepared to hire those 3 people?
So on that one specifically, right now, our department does not have those positions or vacancies to fill those positions. So for those specifically, the first step that we would need to do would be to create the positions and then to request that council add those positions to our department. And that is something that's typically done as part of the fiscal year budget process. But as you see, just at last week's council meeting, we did prioritize the need for creating a new position for the swim center, which council approved, outside of the annual budgeting process.
So does that mean just getting into council members' ears and saying, listen, if we want to do this, we're going to need at least this? Is that what that means?
I think what would be helpful for us from a staff perspective would be for us to maybe get some feedback from you right now as to whether or not you are happy with an approach that would have more like extended timelines on getting things done that sort of are just matching the existing staffing resources, or if you want us to right now further prioritize the need for getting more staffing in the department to get things done.
I mean, I can only speak for myself, right? So
And it's not an action item. So it's just, you know, any sort of even individual commissioner feedback helps us.
gotcha. So for me, what I hear from my fellow commissioners and what I see is that we have lots of great ideas and lots of great projects starting, but they are taking an awfully long time to get done. So if you're telling us that getting a project manager or two would help speed along that process, because the current timelines we have, in my opinion, for a city with this much money and this many resources, it's not acceptable to the public. So if that's something that's needed to get these timelines moving more quickly, then I would be in favor of strongly suggesting to the city council that we get some of these people on board. Maybe I'm an optimist.
I was gonna say, I agree with John on this one. We need to push forward and get these positions. I really do. We need, if this is what it's gonna take to get this moving, because we got so many other people that are normal, regular people that are getting mad at us for stuff not getting done fast enough. We need the resources to get it done, you know, just, I know personally of a whole bunch of stuff that's getting done at the swim center over the next year and a half that nobody knows about. Or at least more citizens don't, you know, from bathrooms to ADA accessibility to fencing to this, that. I mean, we're doing a lot, but people don't know about it. So yeah, if we need staffing, that's what it seems like this key comes down to, this whole department. It's, you know, Yvonne came into a grenade blown up with lack of everything, and you're doing a great job. And I think we just need to we need staffing to help get this. I think what's really happening is the city has realized, and our city has grown to a point where Parks and Recreation is not an afterthought, is not the redheaded stepchild anymore. We have a viable city that enjoys our recreation, and we need to have a staff that takes care of that. We are growing as a city. We have grown. Our Parks and Recreation has grown tremendously with having mismatched leadership every which way, until currently when we have somebody that comes in and tries to focus, get everything cleared, concise, you know, let's do this. I think, you know, we need to push forward on, let's get in the staff, let's get it done. Let's get this department running the way it should run. And I'm all with it. I agree with John. I agree with a lot of, we just need to move it forward. We really do.
And then you have Commissioner Crawford.
Mr. Crawford.
Yeah, one of the things I would like to see on our project prioritization list is a park in the Sunrise and San Rafael area. I've mentioned this a few times over the last couple years, but the city's got a piece of property that they own there. And we tried to go for a Prop 68 grant a couple years back and it fell through. But it just seems that because that area, they don't have the participation and they're not as vocal as some of the other areas, that we just kind of forget about their recreational needs. So I just want to bring that up again and keep that at the front of everyone's mind, that we do have a piece of city-owned property there that I think the city's owned since the early 2000s when the Marilon development came about. And that development is also getting completed, and a lot of the homes are starting to be built out and sold. So I'd like to see a park in that area near the Coyote Runs and the Four Seasons.
Thank you, sir. I agree with Dieter on that one. That's, you know, that's when we get to the next section, I have a comment on something similar to that I just happen to work with a local development that's coming up in an area that they've approached me for some stuff, and I just want to let the commission know what's going on with that. But when we get to the next section, I'll let everybody know what's going on with that one. it might tie into what you just asked, Peter.
Okay, well, this was helpful for me. If there's no other feedback, thank you for allowing me to just sort of present this tonight.
Yes, ma'am. So with that being said, there's any other questions on that? So let's go to ad hoc commissioner updates. So starting on number 1, is there any dog park updates, please? Ooh, wow.
There is. It just started this morning. The Demuth Park Dog Park is the grading and sort of the leveling, getting rid of the rocks, that kind of stuff started this morning. I actually drove past. I'm assuming this picture is from that. I
Yes,
believe
that's me
that's the
today.
truck I saw. So that's starting to happen, and then the decomposed granite will go down. It'll close the park for this week. I can tell you when I was there, nobody complained. I didn't see anybody like saying, why is this closed, blah, blah, blah. And I did see people walking their dogs. So I don't know, we dodged a bullet there. I don't know. Right? I mean, ultimately it's good news and people saw something being done. That's a plus. That's a win.
Yes. Well, I think once again, people got to look at all the stuff. You know, we have a commission that's working on it, subcommission that's busting their butt to work on it. We have another Measure J community that's coming in to give us funds. There's a lot of hands in the pot to get aligned, to get stuff going. And we're moving along. This is great. This is great.
Do you want me to keep talking about this stuff? I mean, was sort of what we talked about last time, right?
We talked about it last time. I didn't know if we'd have any just new listeners tonight, but I just thought I would include the rendering again for you.
Yeah, this is the sort of in the middle of the park, the kind of shade structure, which I think you told me takes 6 months or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's that.
Did I mention something on this too? And I don't know if we have the budget or not, or if this might just be me. But, you know, we have the Palm Springs Dog Shelter. We're the only city with our own animal shelter. And right across from the animal shelter, they have a small dog training fence in enclosure. I don't know. I see a ton of dogs in there, and it is small. I don't know if that's just for the I don't know what that's used for, but it'd be nice if they can get shade over that too, or make that a little bigger.
They generally use that for once somebody has shown an interest in adopting a dog, that's where they take the adoptee and the dog, or adopter and the dog, to sort of introduce them and stuff. That's what they use that area for. They also use it for exercise and other things. But if you're going to adopt a dog from the Palm Springs Animal Shelter, that's one of the purposes of that. So a shade would be great, but honestly, it's not meant for like somebody to be there for 2 hours.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
No, thank you. I drive by it all the time and I see it and I just didn't know. So, okay. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
See something, say something. All right. So the landscape conversion, I guess I'll take this one. We're working on the landscape conversion. Thank you, John, by the way, for your report. Working on the landscape conversion. We brought it to the commission the last couple months. March, April, we're looking to get it on city council so they can actually see it, see what we brought to them. And hopefully we can get approval and move this forward and start getting our landscape converted at all our different parks. I think we've done a great job on doing this, you know, as far as going through plants and talking and communicating with our subcontractor. So, and now we've been able to add in the extra area around JOJ so the murals don't get messed up. You know, we're really cognitive on walking paths and proper placement of the paver stones we've been talking about, so people just don't cut through our new landscape. And I think it's going to be a good setup. It really will. It'll make for a nice addition to our parks too, while conserving water.
Okay, may I jump in now?
Yes, sir, Mr. Finland.
All right. With regard to the pickleball ad hoc committee, just to let everyone know, what you're looking at on your screen right now is the ambassador shirt design, which was approved by the ad hoc committee. And those shirts are on order for the ambassadors, and we hope by the latter part of March that they will arrive and will be available for distribution for our ambassadors. On a separate point, the ad hoc committee will be meeting this week on Wednesday, March 1st. We're hoping at that meeting to formalize and advance in going forward with the master plan for Duluth Pickleball Park pickleball court expansion. And also, we had mentioned at a prior meeting, and Yvonne had alluded to it earlier in this evening's meeting, but we hope to, in the not too far future, have a date set with regard to a public meeting where we'll have for like an open house event, and we'll have an open forum for discussion on pickleball and other items of interest, such as the dog park and other matters of concern to the community at large. It'll be informational, educational, and we'll have our ambassadors there at that open house event, and they'll be able to address questions and concerns pertaining to pickleball. And I did have an opportunity to, I had an individual's name referred to me. I did an interview for someone who would like to become an ambassador. So we're hoping that that program will really be launched and successful, and that there'll be, I'm sure there'll be interest out there for folks who want to work with the community as far as enlightenment and education on the advancement of this great sport. So we're looking to move forth our efforts to put Palm Springs on the map pertaining to the sport of pickleball. But there'll be a lot of exciting things happening in the days and weeks to come. And not to be repetitive, but again, on Wednesday of this week, we'll be having the next meeting of the ad hoc committee just to get things moving forward. Because we have, as we noted in previous meetings, money budgeted for the courts being built and expansion. And that is essentially what I have to present this evening to the group.
Thank you, Mr. Finland. Great job on that too.
And then Chair Alcorn, Commissioner Meyer was going to provide an update on the timeline for master planning, but because she's not here tonight, we'll have that at the next meeting. And then I didn't do a special slide for the park enhancement ad hoc, but I believe you wanted to probably jump in on that one again, right?
Yeah, I guess I'll take that one over. So yeah, the park enhancement.
Maybe you don't, I'm not sure, but I was just guessing that maybe.
No,
what
I'll
you-
take it. I'm talking tonight. So yeah, the park enhancements we're working on, everybody, trying to look at all our parks, see what kind of upgrades we need to do. It's gonna be a diligent little list going through, trying to make upgrades from simple stuff, like it's Sunrise Park, how the walkways don't come together, to complete play sets. We're just trying to go through and really look at our parks in a whole. And also, like Mr. Dieter brought up, even maybe targeting areas that could use a new park, that could actually benefit from having a park, not only from the north end, also the south end, over by the Indian Canyons. There's no parks. Closest park to them is 3 miles away, So we're looking at these different areas of the city that we can enhance and try to improve. And remember, it's not a short race, it's a long-term goal. And this is going to be part of our long-term goals. Look at the long run, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years down the road, what we can get done for the city that's growing by leaps and bounds. So with that being said, that's all I have on that one. Other
And
than
then just,
that,
yeah, commissioner updates on this item then.
yeah, I'm gonna say, does anybody have any commissioner updates, any burning desires, anything to say? I know just for me, I'm gonna keep speaking since I'm sitting here on my soapbox, and I'll just keep going at it. I just gotta say, Mr. Moralia and Mr. Finland, thank you both for doing such good jobs in your subcommittees. You guys are kicking butt in the pickleball and the dog park. I just really appreciate your drive, your enthusiasm, and all the help you're putting towards this commission. It truly makes a difference, and I thank you. From me to you guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
My absolute pleasure. Another thing I got to shout out to is James O'Jesse. They brought out the crew ride kids. So there was about 12, 15 kids from James O'Jesse that came over to my shop, and all the kids got to try out an adaptive bike for people with disabilities. So all of them rode hand cycles, which was really, really cool. Give them that experience, and then to have fun at the very end, I threw them all on a electric rickshaw so they could ride around the neighborhood and mess around on that, which was really cool. They all got rides. But just a shout out to, there's little things the Park and Recreation does that people don't realize that actually as a core, we're trying to help our generation, next generation. And, it's a great department, but I think it's growing and it's doing great. We got new bathrooms in all our parks. We're looking to upgrade everything, make everything truly inclusive, and I think we're going in the right direction. I really do. And I appreciate everybody on the board, and thank you guys. That's all I have.
And then you've got a couple hands up. I see Commissioner Diaz.
Ms. Diaz. Sorry.
That's all right, Jerry, still the show. I just wanted to say a couple of things. One, asking and putting this out there to Yvonne and the staff. Is there any way that we can, for lack of a better description, cross-contaminate programs? Like, I belong to a dance group, a soul line dance group that we practice at the James O'Jesse Center. And there's a lot of people when they see us perform, oh, I'd really love to take that class. And I'm just wondering, then that's just an example, or my cat is trying to get in the way, or the archery that Jerry does. I just feel like we're keeping them at certain locations, and I just wonder if we wouldn't get better participation or more exposure to different groups of people if we were to perhaps offer some of those programs in different locations. Maybe Mondays archery is at, I don't even know where you do it, Jerry, but or the dance line dance, the soul dance class, maybe Mondays it's at JOJ and Fridays it's at Demuth, or just to kind of shake things up, because I just see that things get honed into a particular center or a park, and then just that group of people has access to it. And I feel like as far as staffing goes, I'm sure that could maybe present a little bit of a problem. But I'd be happy to help figure out a way to come up with solutions for that. Just putting that out there. I wanted to piggyback. I think I've been saying for the last however many years I've been on this commission that we need to take advantage of the land that the city already owns and put more parks and more opportunities for residents to use the land. It's sitting there. I know that there is millions and millions of dollars in grants to take advantage of. Yes, we did not receive the grant, but then after that, 2 other cities right here in our valley did receive the grant and put in new parks in other cities. We desperately need a park with a walking trail all the way around the outside. I am tired of hearing my friends that live in other cities brag about how wonderful their water park is, how wonderful their civic center park is. And we just have, and somebody's already said it tonight, we have so much money in our city. And we have so much tourism that comes here to our city because of the name and the location or what have you. They don't say, oh, I'm going to Palm Desert. They say we're coming to Palm Springs. They may mean that they're going to eventually go to Palm Desert. But I don't understand why we are not investing in these things that people use. They drive by, they come. Yes, they come from modernism. Let's figure out a way to glorify some of our places so that folks that are in town for all of these different activities use the parks and are drawn to the parks and perhaps put more money into the city. So that's my 6 cents worth.
I agree with Jody. Okay, anybody else? You know, I got one more thing to bring up, and this is my apologies if I'm not trying to cut anybody else off. I don't know if anybody else's hand is up. I don't have that screen on here.
Commissioner Moralia has his hand up.
Okay, Mr. Moralia, please go ahead, sir.
No, you can go first. I'll wait.
All right, my quick thing is, thank you, John. I appreciate that, sir. So my quick thing is I got approached this actually a couple weeks ago by the new lower income development at the north end at San Rafael and Sunrise, the Monarch. And what they wanted my opinion on a few things. They were looking to build a new community playground inside.
Here, Hawthorne, we just lost your audio. We actually don't see your video either. Okay, there you're back. Your video's back and yes, that looks good. You are on mute right now. That looks. We can see you. It looks like you're still on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're perfect.
Okay, awesome. So what I was bringing up was I got approached by a lower income community that's being built, the Monarch, and they were talking about building a new community park and a small playground and also a community, a splash pad. They were looking to have it open for the whole community, which I thought was really cool. We had a few questions back and forth, but it's one of those things that are in the works that might be a possibility to let everybody know that, hey, you know, Monarch is coming into our town. They're looking to take care of all the people, high and low income, but they're really trying to be all inclusive for our city too. So I'm really pleased with that, seeing developers come in and want to include the city and actually ask not just a certain department, you know, hey, Parks and Rec, what do you think would be good for our city? And I think it was just a good inclusiveness for them to reach out and even ask for us. So with that being said, I just wanted to let you know, Monarch, you know, the lower income Monarch is working on it, and it's pretty cool seeing what's coming from that facility. So with that being said, John, I'll give it back to you, sir. Sorry to cut you off. I just want to let everybody know that.
That's totally fine. Based on what I'm hearing and the emails we got and everything regarding the swim center, do we need a swim center ad hoc, or is that just going to muddy the waters more? I'm throwing it out there to my fellow commissioners because I don't use the swim center, so I don't know. I only hear people in my ear because they know I'm a commissioner.
Sorry, I totally lost audio on that, John. So can you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry, sir.
Sure. I just asked if we think we need a swim center ad hoc, because it seems like the emails we're getting that are full of complaints, a lot of them are centered around that. We also heard from a couple of people, and I know I looked at the presentation that I forget what they call themselves. There's a group of 3 and they put together sort of a PowerPoint slide presentation. They seem to be more than a little upset.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. They are very livid, you know. I think a lot of it honestly stems from lack of staffing, which we're trying to find. It sucks because I don't know if anybody noticed. We put out a huge email media blast. We're looking for employees to hire for the city. Palm Springs, especially the pool lifeguards. Not even 2 weeks later, who does an email blast? Palm Desert Swim. Who does one after them? Desert Recreation District Swim. It's like everybody's tagging off what we're doing, and you know, they see what we're going out and they offer a couple bucks more or this and that. And it's we're trying to be competitive. I'm not sticking up for the city at all. I'm just saying it sucks when, yeah, we're trying. And I think it would be good to have a subcommittee for them, you know, another ad hoc to hear what they're saying, hear what's going on, and try to, you know, try to be a voice between us. That would be great.
I definitely like to maybe see a swim center ad hoc. I know we've got a ton of ad hocs already. But I'd like to see us just take some interest into some of those ideas that they had. And me personally as well, my son did swimming lessons there last summer. And a lot of the youth go there from the community center here twice a week in the summer. My son did Camp Chicopee last year, so he went there almost every day. So I'd like to see like a more children's like play area or a family friendly area with like some slides and things of that nature, different water features that some of the other aquatic centers in the valley have. So I think that definitely may be necessary.
That sounds like you just volunteered to head that ad hoc.
That's what I'm hearing. But yeah, I think it's something we need to definitely work on, and we'll get back. We'll have to circle back around to it, but I think it's definitely an ad hoc we need, and we need to get formed for our commission to take care of the city's needs right now. The stakeholders and everybody's here complaining about it as much as they are. We need to have an ad hoc to help work with them, just like we did for pickleball, just like we have for the dog park. Now we got the swim center going on. So I think it's time for us to start an ad hoc for them, really,
Does that mean we need to add it to an agenda to become an action item, or how do we do that?
That's a defer to Yvonne on that one.
We could
I think
include it during next month's presentation on the swim center. You could bundle it maybe with that line item. Would that
Yeah,
work?
that would be smart. Let's do that, and we can bundle it all in and get people, the commissioners to volunteer, and let's get going on it, because I think the city, the stakeholders would really benefit from a little more knowledge behind them than just hearing what they're hearing at the pool. When people are actually knowing what's going on, maybe we can get some fires put out and some other understanding what's going on. So however that's going to work, but I'm willing to volunteer for that one too. I learned to swim in that pool in 1980.
And then you still have Commissioner Diaz.
Sorry, I don't see the hands up. So Miss Diaz.
Sorry, I never took it down.
Oh.
All right, with that being said, and does anybody else have any burning desires, questions, comments, concerns? All right, with that being said, I'm going to have a motion to close our February 27th, 2023 Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. Can I get a motion to close, please?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Finland. I'm gonna second that one. So, Mr. Finland, thank you very much. I'm gonna second it. We're gonna have a motion to close at 7:34. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Our next meeting is gonna be March 27th, 2023 for the City of Palm Springs Park and Recreation Commission meeting.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you and good night.
Yes, sir. Take care, everybody.
Good night, Yvonne.
Good
Good
night.
night,
Thank you.
Janice. Janet, bam. All right, you guys, be good.
Good night.
Good night.